This film may be one of the most offensive, raunchy comedies, a college raunchy teen sex comedy that in years. The Re-Education of Molly Singer is about a young woman tasked with making someone cool, a young man in college, cool. Check out the trailer. We'll put the link in the description. The Re-Education of Molly Singer. Check out the trailer. You have to see this. We have the director, Andy Palmer, here to explain himself.
That's right. That's right. I've done it. It's The Last American Virgin all over again. It's a remake, basically. Almost a shot-for-shot remake of that movie.
Well, first of all, I saw that movie the first time around, The Last American Virgin. Fun movie. This is, you could say loosely an update of it, but I love raunchy comedies. Check out the trailer to everyone. We've got like almost 800 people watching live right now. Check out the trailer for this film. Maybe not right now. Put it in your bookmarks. But Andy, how did you get away with this at a time when comedy, it's almost like the comedy genre has kind of died, but I think audiences are hungry for it. How did you get this movie made?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that people want to laugh. I think that comedy has never felt, I guess, more dangerous, in a realm where there's, anybody can get canceled for anything at any time. Comedy is, but it's never more important, right? Because comedy is the thing that pushes the envelope of these things, and it's the thing that helps you question societal norms and stuff like that in this sort of sweet-filled package. I think the key to comedy now is that comedy needs to be all-inclusive. If we're going to be teasing people or we're going to be making fun of something, then we're making fun of everybody. Then everybody's fair game. There's no marginalizing one group or this group. It's basically pointing out the ridiculousness in everything. And that's sort of what we wanted to do in Molly Singer, is we wanted to take, I'm a big 80s, 90s movies fan. Obviously, I just pulled some obscure raunchy comedy from the 80s and like literally led with
Andy
that. And so I love that. So I wanted to kind of create that vibe, but at the same time, make it more modern, make it feel a little bit fresh. And so we kind of pay tribute to the traditional college comedy and then put it in the world of the now.
So what went into, like, I mean, did you have trouble selling it? Or do you think that, like, there is definitely an attitude? We've seen a few raunchy comedies this year. There's some people with some guts saying, hey, audiences are starving for it.
Yeah.
They want it. They want to bring back. We were just earlier talking about boobs. There's an article on the Film Threat website, and the article is the 50 best boobs in movie history. And Alan we did an update of the art. Literally, it's 25 women. I didn't realize it was 50. So it's 25 women, but 50 best boobs in cinema history. But this is the kind of attitude and sense of humor that I just love to see come back and return. Did you have any difficulties or pushback from saying, hey, this is the kind of movie I want to make?
No, I don't think so. I think everybody sort of got it. I mean, especially like the cast, I mean, Britt was the first person to come on, and she was like, she's like, I don't see movies like this. I haven't been doing movies like this. This is really fun. Like, this seems like a good time. And I like this character. The funniest thing is, like, there's a scene in the movie where Jamie, who plays Ty Simpkins, Elliot's mom, she takes him to a strip club the day before he goes to college, which is kind of ridiculous comedy trope to begin with. But then it all becomes like a lesson in consent, like she has this sort of ulterior motive. And I think that's what you do, is you do these things where you're like, this is what you would do in a 90s comedy, and this is how we turn it around and make it work for today, and I think that's the key. That was Jamie's favorite scene. And then when I was talking to her on a Zoom, she's like, when's that day? And I was like, oh, that's actually your last day of filming. She's like, all right, I wanted to start off with it because it's really fun, so it's like, she loved that. I think that you're right. I think people want it, and you just do it in a way that you know, that is just needling kind of everyone, you know. Ironically, for as raunchy, languagey, and the things that kind of go on in this movie, we don't have any nudity in the movie. You know, it's everything is sort of alluded to in the movie. So it's trying to be more of the now, but still give people the same feeling of when I went and saw American Pie for the first time and laughed my ass off, you know?
Well, I think a return to those type of movies is something that audiences want, but there's like a small percentage of people maybe on social media that get offended by those things, and they don't have to see the movie. They don't have to see the movie.
True. That's true.
Right.
Everybody has the freedom to do whatever they want. Yes.
We have a lot of people watching us live right now. We have questions from our chat. Let's take a couple of questions from the chat. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. The movie has a very specific color palette. Did you use a set program? I just want to say something to Fletcher. Andy was just telling us about a scene where they go to a strip club and you're asking about color palette. I don't know about this question, Fletcher.
Fletcher's a nerd like I am, and I can go deep into the DaVinci Resolve LUTs that we use. So we're good to go here, you know?
Okay, good. Well, if you would address this question, but I'm just saying we could go back to the strip club stuff anytime. If that's
yes, because I want to learn about sound design.
Okay, we can talk about it all. I love it all. No, Fletcher, thank you for the comment. And yeah, that was the outset. You can actually see on my wall Molly in the yellow dress against the drab sort of green prison picture and stuff like that. And it, beyond being like, you know, a color correction choice or anything like that, it goes all the way back to the beginning where you're like, what do our costumes look like compared to what our production design looks like? And, you know, how are we shooting this? What lenses are we shooting this with? And stuff like that. I like bubblegummy, poppy colors and stuff like that. But in my mind, because I was like a 90s kid, when I thought of like the college movie, I will fully admit, I was like, clearly everybody's going to be wearing American Eagle and cargo shorts will just be raining down upon us all, you know? And my costume designer, Tora F, was like, no, we're going to do this. And it's going to contrast so well. And it's, you know, and it did, it just pops off the screen. But to answer your very technical question, we used, as a baseline, we used a LUT from, that was the color palette from the movie Knives Out. That seemed to kind of like balance with, our sort of look of the movie. And then when our colorist took over and looked at that LUT, then he went to town and made it his own.
All right. More comments and questions. Kara says, hello, it looks like a funny old school comedy. Congratulations on it. And Doc Savage asks, how did you swing Wendy Malik? She's gold. Bravo, good man. Bravo.
Nice. Yeah, Wendy, I think our producer, Todd Friedman, had some sort of connection to either her reps or Wendy in general. I never in a million years thought that somebody like Wendy Malik would come on board for Mrs. Zimmerman, who's not in the film a tremendous amount, but she's so funny and she's the sweetest lady ever. And I've been, you know, talking a little bit about it. I'm brokenhearted because we actually had a second scene with her in the movie. And it's like this great scene with her and Britt and the kind of a heart-to-heart that they have, and we ended up having to cut it because it treaded very closely to the very next scene of the movie, which is this sort of heart-to-heart with Molly and Polly. And so it felt like you're just kind of repeating beats, and because Polly is Molly's ride or die, it felt like we had to, you know, that scene felt more important, more weighty. But Wendy is amazing, and hopefully maybe in the extra DVDs that scene will pop up.
Razorburn asks, Andy, which comedians influenced you? Red Fox? Richard Pryor?
Oh man. I mean, both of them are hilarious. Richard Pryor, I adore. My favorite bit from Richard Pryor is probably not one of his most famous bits, but when he's talking about George Foreman and he's like, I love George Foreman. You know why I love George Foreman? Because he has an interesting boxing style. None. He said, which one's the referee? Because I'm just going to kill the other man. But I love Richard Pryor.
Let's see. Slayer 96 DA the second. What is the most offensive joke you made? Or maybe
in the
a
movie?
Joke that, yeah, like in the movie, what could be considered an offensive joke without giving too much away?
Totally. It's not me. I'm clean as a whistle. It's my actors. They have these dirty minds. So there's a scene where Molly, Britt's character, and Polly are trying to get back into school, and they get rejected by the housing board. The housing people are like, everything's full, F off. You know, you should have been here earlier. And they're walking back out, and Molly's like, man, that blew up quickly. And I think Polly says something like, yeah, this is the worst idea since the both of us tried anal bleaching. And so, I mean, that was like, and that was not in the script. You know, Nico had a litany of just dirty things that they had done together, you know? So that's a good dirty one.
Not Alan, can you Google anal bleaching for me? I just want to see what comes up in your browser history. Let's see. Solomon Thornton asks, Sir Andy, you've got elevated to a sir.
Oh, Solomon. Did we just become best friends?
What is your process for directing a comedy?
Couple things. From a technical standpoint, especially on this movie, I wanted to give the actors as many reps as possible. So it was about, when I got together with my DP, looking at the scenes and keeping camera setups to a minimum. We shot 2 cameras so that improv could be intercut very easily. We shot on zoom lenses, so we didn't have to stop down ever. We could just be, swinging focal lengths if we needed to. And the next thing is, and then what that does is it just gives the actors reps, because if you minimize your setups and those sort of behind the scenes things, then you can add takes. And because we're throwing so many lines to each other and stuff like that, then when you get into the edit, it's not a matter of like, is this funny or not? It's what's the funniest bit that we had and what fits. Because the one thing I will say to aspiring comedy directors, if something is hilarious on set, like if somebody does something on set and everybody cracks up, all the crew and the gaffer is just, side splitting laughing, it will not play funny in the edit. I don't know what that is. I don't know what kind of karmic thing that is. But if it's hilarious on set, it's not hilarious in the movie. It takes you out of the movie.
More questions here. Brock Samsonite asks, what was the hardest part of filming for you? What did it teach you?
The hardest part of this movie was really, despite being kind of tail end of COVID and stuff like that, and dealing with COVID protocols on a set and stuff like that, a challenge. The biggest challenge of this movie was that we were in Atlanta right when everything was opening up, and everybody was shooting. Like, we were the low man on the totem pole competing against Marvel shows and movies. So we were kind of constantly losing crew to bigger and better shows. And obviously you can't blame anybody if they get a job on the Wonder Years and it's 8 months long and our job is 2 weeks long, like why would they stay, so that was hard, trying to having new people come in all the time, because you want to, get that rhythm. But I credit my producers and all the kind of heads of department for, keeping that consistency, bringing new people in and keep going. But the hardest part is, like, we lost some locations because we just would get like outbid or something last minute. So the hardest part was getting locations late and having to create, recreate my blocking to suit the environment that we were now kind of thrust in. But we did it, we did it.
Another question from That's What She Said. What kind of camera did you use and what size do you like? I'm a C cup kind of guy. Hey,
there we go. That kind of harkens. Nice throwback to what we were talking about at the original part of the show. We shot on the Arri Alexa LF Mini, so that with some ingenue zoom lenses.
Cool. And then, okay, that's not related actually to this super chat, but Andy, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Palmer. The Re-Education of Molly Singer comes out. Is it this weekend or
next weekend, the 29th? Limited theatrical, and all the VOD sites, your Voodoos, your Apple, your Amazons, anywhere you can click that buy button. Keep me in the manner I've grown accustomed. Look at this dog over here. Hold on, I got to go the other way. Like, look, I gotta keep him in bones.
Okay, good. Get Andy's dog a bone.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
Perfect.
And get Alan and I some boobs, I guess. Alan's obsessed with boobs.
What can I get for you, sir?
A boob. At least one.
Great choice.
Next movie, I promise.
That keeps coming up. I don't know what it is. But Andy, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Appreciate it. Congrats on the movie. Make comedy great again. That's what I always like to say. I'm gonna put it on a red hat and see if I get in trouble in Los Angeles.
You will.
Yeah, exactly. See how that turns out. So great. Thank you so much. Seriously,
Awesome,
congrats again. Awesome. Take care, Andy.
Thanks, y'all. Be good.
Thanks, Andy.